I have tried several times to make this video. I wasn't sure what format I wanted to do the video in. Really just wanted to do a video talking about the TV show and then a specific character on the TV show. And I'll probably put a clip in somewhere, like over here at some point. But I watched through the TV series, and before I even get started, this is going to be a spoiler if you haven't already seen the TV show. So what I'll do is I will wait a few seconds, and if you don't want it to be spoiled, then click off. And then I'll get into my issue with the show. So let's 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Just to make sure. It's going to spoil the show. It's not a huge spoiler, but it will spoil an aspect of the show. So, I mean, there's that. So the show's Invincible on Amazon Prime. It's a good show. It's an interesting take on the concept of heroism and whatnot, and the very, alien crash land on the planet story. So what I'm going to be talking about is going to be like the last, I think, episode or two of the show, and you've basically already figured out the main character, half alien. The whole world is under false pretense. His dad is actually crazy, and he's gonna try and overthrow the planet. It's very much like a if Superman went bad sort of thing, but it's not went bad. It's just Superman's just coming to conquer, but he got into the whole society thing and had a kid, and now he's gonna bring up that kid to help him like conquer the planet. And that's not the focus of this little short rant that I wanted to do. It's more the backlash that I've seen of other channels talking about a specific character on the show, and basically saying the character was fine until it hit a certain point, and then now, the character's terrible, and it's a terrible character arc, and she ruined all this. That just the anger towards a character feels like it's coming from a different place than what people are talking about, and I could be wrong, but there have been other TV shows and other characters that have made similar decisions, let's call it, when it comes to like how they interact with the main character, and I feel like people haven't had as strong a reaction. So the character I'm talking about is Amber. Amber is the girlfriend character of the main character. The reason why I'm going to specifically mention Amber's name, and I'm not going to talk about everybody else like Omni-Man and Invincible and stuff, is because I don't want that to be the focus of the video. Like, yes, Invincible's the main character, Amber's a girlfriend, but as supporting characters go, she is supposed to be kind of the, a superhero has a secret identity, how do they deal with that with the people that are close to them? Okay. So the whole relationship is set up as this: he's a superhero, he's hiding the identity, people don't really know, he's late to a lot of things, he's late to, I think it's like a dinner with her family, and then just random dates where he's late, and then I think there's another, I think the last instance-ish is there's it's not a retirement home, or no, it's not. It's a soup kitchen. It's a soup kitchen. There's a soup kitchen where she volunteers. She asks him to help, and then something happens. He has to be a superhero. He's late. He doesn't text. She's got her issue with it and everything, and they go away on the trip. They do a whole we're gonna try and connect again. We're gonna try and make this relationship work. He still chooses not to talk to her about it, and during the trip they go with a friend. They go up to see a college. Monster of the Week attacks. He saves them. It becomes a whole thing. And the part specifically that I'm referencing is that this whole time she's just a frustrated girlfriend who she's being stood up by a boyfriend, and it's not great for her, and she just feels like she's not being cared about, or that she isn't valued in the dynamic. Okay. The issue is that when the reveal scene happens, like the big reveal, they get back from the trip, she's upset, she's like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. He reveals, ta-da, I'm a superhero, I'm invincible. And she proceeds to, I already knew that.
Sorry I didn't realize that sooner. But that all stops today. Amber. Whoa, here we go. Amber, I'm in...
Oh my god.
It's okay. This is why I'm always late or why I don't show. Because I'm off saving lives or stopping some bad guys or going to Mars. I wanted to tell you so many times. Did you hear what I just said?
Ugh, I know you're a superhero.
You know? You know?
I'm not an idiot. I figured it out weeks ago.
Then why are we fighting?
We're fighting because you lied to me. You made me feel stupid and unimportant.
It's a secret identity.
And because you don't trust me.
I'm trusting you now.
Oh my god. I mean, it's cute you think that's enough.
But
she basically says, okay, well, I know you were a superhero this whole time. My issue is the fact that you didn't feel you could come to me. Okay. Now, while I understand everybody saying, oh, well, like, she doesn't understand that, superheroes have it so hard, it's so difficult, secret identities, keeping the people that you care about safe, while he also makes that argument, everybody's taking this, well, you knew, so you can't possibly be mad at him, sort of a thought process. And it's weird because she has a valid point. I mean, just being honest, if you're in a relationship, telling the other person about the person who you are is important. I mean, if you don't want it to continue, like if you don't want to keep being with a person, then I mean, fine. I mean, you don't need to open up to them. But to keep kind of pushing, like, no, like, I want this to mean something, you have to then say, okay, well, then I have to introduce you to the person that I am. Like, if you're hiding things from the person, then you're not really valuing the person, and you're just kind of saying, like, well, you're just kind of honest, like, it's not important for me to tell you. And that all stems from the fact that people can make the argument, oh, well, he couldn't tell he's a superhero. If people found out who he was, like, secret identity-wise, she would have been in jeopardy anyway. You know, like, if people are like, oh, that's who you are, secret identity, that's the person who you're dating, she is now in jeopardy. So it doesn't really change much of anything unless literally no one ever finds out who he is as a superhero, which, depending on, the comic or superhero incarnation that you're watching, it may or may not happen. Marvel's done their, Civil War, everybody kind of either they unmask or they refuse to, unmask, and, different things in DC, like different people who have been unmasked. Like, I get it. It doesn't always happen, but, like, if it were possible for it to happen, and a person saying, I care about this person, I want this to be a relationship, then trusting the person to say, okay, this is the person that I am. I mean, you just have to understand that if somebody's like, hey, I don't feel like you respected me because you just chose to keep this from me, and every time I told you, okay, let's talk, what is going on? What are the reasons for your absence in, the different iterations of you being absent? Just choosing not to say anything is just your choice. Like, you're saying, like, oh, I want to be with you, I'll be completely honest, I'm not going to be honest about everything. And, for someone to be upset about that is understandable. Now, I do get that people have an issue with that. It seems like, and this again seems like, she goes from, I don't want to talk to you, I want to have no conversation with you, we are never speaking again because you made this choice, to let's be back together later on. I think people are failing to realize the information that is kind of released in between those two moments. Like, she's told he's a superhero, that's during their, like, little college trip, and that's all she's told. Like, you're a superhero, to the best of her knowledge, he always prevails to an extent, and the monster of the week is defeated, and he chose not to tell her. When she comes to tell him, hey, let's be more like together, hey, I'm here for you if you need support, his father, who is the Superman of this universe, has, on every media that's available, because everyone was watching the fight he was having, killed another superhero, beat him almost to death, and said, I am here for no other reason than to conquer this whole planet. And he made the decision to say, hey, I'm going to fight against that. He didn't win, but I'm going to fight against that. So people are still, like, on the team of, like, okay, well, like, Invincible might be a character, like, we can kind of get behind. So at that point, she's not saying anymore, okay, we're dealing with the you not talking to me, you not telling me stuff. She's dealing with the, I just found out you are part of basically a galactic conquering force. Your father said you need to, you said no, he beat you almost to death. You survived, and then he flew away, and no one knows what's going on. People don't know your secret identity, but me knowing what you're going through, we can deal with what we were dealing with before later, but like I'll be here to support you. And I feel like people are making it seem like, again, because it's a TV show, so it's edited, they're making it seem like the things happen right next to each other. So she decided after the trip, hey, I don't want to talk to you anymore, we're not going to speak. And then like the next day came over and was like, oh, I just decided we're going to be together now. And that's not at all what happened. And it's a very weird, like, anger, when you see anger online towards her, like, change of mind, like her opinion towards him, and her ability and her desire to deal with his situation. I get that it could be seen as, you know, it's still a situation where he didn't trust her, there's still a lot of trust issues, and yes, relationships can have issues. A lot of relationships have issues. So that's one aspect of it, but there is also context, right? So if someone's saying, hey, here are all the things I'm going through, and this is the reason why, the other person's allowed to make the choice if they want to then deal with that person moving forward, right? Like, to say, oh, well, like, they did one thing, you can never talk to them again. If someone doesn't tell you, let's say, the truth about, let's say they're working a job and you don't know they're, you know, a janitor, because they're embarrassed about it. So they've lied to you this whole time and not told you they're a janitor, but they're able to provide financially, whatever. If you then find out, okay, the reason why they didn't tell me these things is because of their embarrassment, all this other stuff, and you choose to stay with them, saying, oh, well, they lied and that's an issue, so you should never be with them again. That's a choice you make. Like, if you're comfortable with it, if it hasn't physically harmed you in some way, or emotionally harmed you in a way that you're like, I can never be with that person again, you're allowed to make that choice. Like, it just seems like people are really upset in a way that it just seems is completely disproportionate to what's actually happening in the grand scheme of the show. You know, like, of all the things that you could possibly talk about in that show, where you're like, that seems like a weird, like, creative choice, that seems like an interesting thing. And it seems odd that, you know, the one African American female character that makes a slight, you know, personal, like, you know, my value decision is seen as like, oh my god, like, this is like a terrible character, how dare they with this character. But everybody else that makes like weird decisions, it's fine. Like, they're able to just kind of bounce back and forth, and it doesn't seem like that. I've seen many people are talking about it. And I know this video is very late, the show's been out for a while, but it was just, it's resting in my head right now. There's other things going on, there'll be other videos coming out, but that particularly was resting on my mind because it just seemed like a weird kind of trigger for people, and it seemed like it was being triggered for a reason that was not the dialogue. It seemed like people were fine when she seemed like a, you know, she'll be there no matter what, you know, she'll put up with anything because he deserves, you know, someone who's understanding regardless of them knowing the situation. And once she spoke up for herself, it was like, oh, like, just how dare she speak that, oh. And then now that she said something, that's terrible, and oh, hey, she got context to like what he's actually going through, and now she can make a decision whether she wants to talk to him again. She said talk to him again. Oh, well, like, the character, she's just, oh, she's all over the place. I mean, people are all over the place. Yes. People are allowed to make different decisions depending on how much information they're given on that particular situation. So I think it's very weird that people are having as aggressive a reaction as they are. Look, in the comments, you can tell me if you disagree, if you think that it has nothing to do with race, or that she's a female, and people feeling like the male character should just be given carte blanche, like, just no matter what, he's just, excuse it all, he's a superhero, that's the person that I'm watching the show for, every other character should just kind of bend around that. If you disagree, again, in the comments, tell me how you feel, tell me what you think, tell me what you thought of the show. Sure. And if you have any suggestions of any other shows to watch, I've been getting a few thoughts of like different shows that I potentially want to start reviewing. And there is going to be actually a music review, very specifically, because it's you'll see what that is later. But yeah, again, like and subscribe, comment below your thoughts on people's reactions to the show and people's reactions to that particular dynamic, that relationship dynamic.